Okay, so we have started recording. Hello, my name is Abhishek.
Hi, I'm Lokesh.
So today here we are here to make sure that we create a series of videos focusing on career planning, career development, and interview preparation. So Lokesh, you want to talk more on that?
Sure. Thanks, Abhishek. So, what we plan to do is basically make a series of small videos to help the freshers and newcomers joining the industry to make them understand or to give them a flavor of how the interviews look like, what are the frequently asked questions, and to help prepare them better for their interviews. So, the topic for today that we are going to discuss is the most common question that is asked in any of the interview, no matter which domain or industry that you are applying for, is to introduce yourself. So, Abhishek, why don't we start with your experience first? And if this question was asked to you in an interview, I'm sure you would have answered, and you would have many interviewer would have asked you this question. What was your response? How did you answer to this question? Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Lokesh. Yes, I'll first give my answer, and then maybe you can give your feedback. So this is how I generally answer that question. So my name is Abhishek Bedkar. I'm currently working as senior business analyst with one of the software product company. My role there involves analyzing data, looking at trends, and try to understand the behavior of customer. In terms of technology, I use Python, SQL, and Tableau in order to make sure that we create a good product, analytics product for the leadership to understand. Prior to that, I was working for a manufacturing company where I used to look at the supply chain data, and we used to use SQL and Power BI over there to make sure that what do we see to measure the KPIs of supply chain, such as on-time performance of different plants and different regions. And we used to come up with certain analysis to make sure that the leadership can see what is the on-time performance of entire Europe or entire Germany or entire plant by product and by category, each category. Prior to that, I was working for logistics shipping giant, and there my role involved looking at US based customers, analyzing their logistic behavior, and coming up with certain suggestions that how can they reduce their cost and improve their services. Prior to that, I was working for an aviation company as a demand analyst over there, or flight analyst, where my role involved looking at different routes, trying to understand what is the demand for different routes, and and setting up the pricing strategy for that. So let's say if there is a route of Bombay London, then what is the demand for that Bombay London route, and then how can we set up our pricing strategy to make sure that we get the best revenue possible. In terms of my education, I have done my graduation in mechanical engineering, and I have done my MBA in operations research. So to sum up, I'm engineering plus MBA professional with 6 years of experience in aviation, manufacturing, logistics, and supply chain. One of the common attributes across these 6 years of experience is data. So that's what my answer looks like.
Great. That was very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Sorry
yeah.
to interrupt. So just to give you idea, so generally when I give that answer, I try to start with my latest experience before that, and my education, and then I try to summarize that everything by in one or two sentences. So that's my entire structure. Look, sorry to interrupt. Now you can share your feedback, and how would you introduce yourself?
Exactly. I was coming to the same point that the blocks that you followed was you started with your professional experience. You started from your current company and went in the past as to which all companies that you have worked and what profile you had. Now, if I have to introduce myself, I would do something in a different way. I would start with my personal background, just about me and maybe my family, a quick introduction from where I belong. I'll then move on to my education and then move on to my professional experience. And when
Okay.
I start with my professional experience, I'll start with my first company.
Okay.
So from first company, so by the time I am done with, or at the end of my introduction, I would be talking about the latest professional experience that I have been working on, or the latest project that I've been working on. So this kind of uh, helps the interviewer to pick that thread and start talking more on it. And since because I'm working on that, I can uh, uh, I can help uh, navigate the interview or focus on the point where I want to take the interview through.
Okay.
So that way, it connects the dots for the interviewer, as well as it also helps me with some kind of leverage as to which direction would I want to take the interview forward in time. So
Sure, sir. Yeah.
maybe just
Mm-hmm.
quick introduction I will do. So I would probably say like, hello, sir. I'm Lokesh Bhansali. I'm from Pune. I currently stay with my family in Pune itself. I've completed my entire education in Pune. I've done my graduation from Pune University, and post that I've done my post graduation, that is postgraduate diploma in operations from Balaji Institute of Telecom and Management, Pune. And then I moved to my professional experience. So I started my professional experience with a logistic company based out of Mumbai. I worked there for 2 years. There, my role was, or the profile was a hardcore operations profile, where I handled clients for the company in terms of their import, export shipments, their documentations, value-added services, warehousing needs. So I was a single point of contact, and I worked as a client relationship manager for that company. This company was also the first company in India to launch the concept of free trade and warehousing zone. So I got a lot of exposure in terms of how the free trade zones work and how are they different from the regular warehousing that we have. Now, with this 2 years of operations experience, I moved to a slightly different role in terms of planning and analytics. I moved to Pune in a multinational company based out of Pune. So there, I joined at a junior level as a regular planner. So I worked on inventory management, demand management, forecasting, stocking level strategies, and so forth. And eventually, as my progress and the projects that I was part of, as they grew, I climbed up the ladder from being just a consultant to being principal consultant to being manager. And from there, after having a good hand of supply chain and procurement and logistics industry for almost close to 8 to 10 years, uh, I was interested, and the new things that was coming up was data science, machine learning, and so I explored myself into those areas, and that is where I got another opportunity with another multinational company as a data scientist. So there I was responsible to handle to see and draw insights from their logistics department, see what are the things that are actually value adding to the team, and what are the things that they are probably focusing too much but are of no value for the end results. So I had used data analytics heavily in those assignments. And then of late, I have been working mostly on automation and digitization front, whereas I'm also responsible to face the customers and understand their requirements, build the solution around it, do a POC, see if those solutions meet the customer criteria, and then scale it worldwide. So that is how my project or the latest engagement has been. So uh, maybe I'll stop at this point of time, but the idea here was uh, at the end of my uh, introduction, I want to highlight the piece where I want the interview to ask more questions on.
Yeah.
So that way, it's fresh in my mind also, because of course I would not remember something that I worked 8-10 years back in my first company.
Yeah.
I know overall, but I won't know the details now.
Yeah.
So this is the way that I would probably go through.
Yeah. Sounds really impressive, sir. I think the way you have explained about climbing the ladder and how would you change profiles actually gives the interviewer a little bit of gist of how you have progressed and now what areas that you are currently working in. So mine looked little rushed, whereas your look more like calm, composed, and in a good direction. It took little more time, but I guess interviewer will not ask much questions to your prior experience than he will mostly ask your recent questions on your recent
Right.
experience questions on.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we also need to keep in mind is what is it that interviewer is checking when he says to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Of course, when you go for an interview, your CV or your resume is already in front of him.
Yeah.
He could easily read through everything and he would know everything about it. But then still he asks this question. So what is the intention behind it?
True.
So if based on my experience, there are possibly 3 things that he usually checks. And Abhishek, if you have something more, feel free to add. The first one is, of course, your fluency in English, as to how confidently can you speak in English. So this is a basic communication skill that he's checking. Because once he hires you, he would want to make sure that you are able to communicate your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions with the teammates, your counterparts, with the customers. So that is the basic requirement. So that is why once he ask you to ask you a question which is very obvious, the most probably the reason is he wants to test your communication skill. The second piece is also on, he would like to understand your thought process or the flow of your thoughts. Do you jump from your family to your let's say professional life, back to your education and back to professional life? Do you crisscross these lines, or do you keep a single line of thought so that it helps build that continuity and understanding to the other person as well? And maybe to some extent, the third piece is he's also checking on your confidence. How confidently can you talk? Because this is the area that this is about you. So you know everything about you. So this is not something that you are unknown of. And if you know something, then how confident are you? So this kind of gives him a good idea of your personality or your outlook of how you as a person are. So that's the way I look at it.
I think that's perfect. One other thing I only feel we can think of is whenever you are giving this question's answer, how your answer justifies to the role that you're applying. So if it's a data scientist position, I would talk more on statistics and coding and software engineering part. If it's a functional consultant role, I'll talk more on my experience with business focus on it, that how my analytics impacted the business. So that's the only needle that I generally change, because the profiles that we generally apply and the interviews that we give are from plethora of different industry, and every role is different. So only part where I change my answer a little bit is what role that I'm applying and how do I tell that interviewer that my answer or my profile looks fit to the role that I'm applying.
I think that is of course a crucial part. So good point there. I agree.
So I think this is what we had. Anything else, or you think we should wrap up and ask our people to follow us and give us their feedback?
Of course, so we'll just summarize the discussion. Basically two key takeaways.
Yeah.
Whenever you apply or whenever you answer this question, make sure you have your uh, blocks, as in your personal life, your education life, your professional life, properly thought through, and then you link them properly, so
Yeah.
that uh, you are able to communicate it better.
Yeah.
And the second point is, whenever you are about to end your introduction, uh, be sure to talk about the things that you would like to highlight more.
Yeah.
Like you said, Abhishek, that is it a consulting role or is it an
Yeah.
analytics role?
Yeah.
I would like to talk more about it.
Yeah.
So, based on the profile that you're applying, based on your skill set, try to end the introduction with the most positive thing that you can talk, which will help interviewer to pick that thread up and then take the discussion forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that should be a good summary.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That summarizes it perfectly. Thank you very much, Lokesh sir. So guys, do share your feedback. What you think? What more topics we can bring, and make sure that our content is more productive in the future. Do let us know your feedback in the comment below. Thank you very much for watching this video.
Wish you all the best. Bye. Thank you.